kamighimo langit sikoy ko kamighimo taado ay bulan ikaw ang nagbuhat sa kabituunan ikaw ang nagbuhat sa kalibutan manama mawantog ka warag po ko ilingkoy ko o Diyos kahibulungan ka busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شمل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمم في مدينة دباو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the lights of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
Manama mawantog ka warag po ko ilingkoy ko o Diyos kahibulungan ka busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko busa ikaw lang ang alagaran ko.
Okay, so a pleasant afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the afternoon session of our It's a Math Tech Day Casio Technology session, spearheaded by the Educational Technology Unit in partnership with Casio Calculators Philippines and Casio. Today we'll be discussing about general mathematics. Specifically, we'll be talking about key concepts of functions, rational functions, inverse function, exponential and logarithmic functions. This is intended for grade 11 teachers and students. So Here at EdTech Unit and Casio Calculators webinar session, we are trying to teach our students and our educators on how to use different applications that will help them to deliver basic and key concepts in mathematics in a fun and smooth way with the use of our Casio emulators. So today, this is our second session. A while ago, we were able to discuss some key concepts about about Casio emulators, and today we'll be having this general mathematics as our strand this afternoon. And to formally introduce our speaker, let us call on our Public Schools District Supervisor from Division of Pasig City, National Capital Region. Let us all welcome Ma'am Diana Marie B. Dagli. Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Hello, sir. Teacher Bads. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay. So, good afternoon, dear viewers. Good afternoon, math enthusiasts. Our speaker for today is a graduate in pamantasan ng lungsod ng Pasig with the degree of Bachelor in Secondary Education, major in Mathematics, batch 2013. After his graduation, he was hired as a mathematics teacher for grade 7 to 10 at Our Lady of Pilar Montessori Center in Pilar Village, Las Piñas. He had been a part of that school for 4 years. Consequently, he started taking up his master's at PUP Manila under Masters of Science in Mathematics Education or MSME program and graduated last December 2019. After his teaching journey in Las Piñas, he came back to Pasig City and was blessed to be a part of the standalone public senior high school in the city, the San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School. This school gave him an opportunity to author MTAP materials and be one of the facilitators of the MTAP convention for grade 11 teachers in September 2019. Currently, he is a teacher too and a research and mathematics teacher and planning officer of the said institution. To give us all a Math Tech afternoon, Casio Technology sessions in some topics on general mathematics, ladies and gentlemen, the pride of DepEd SDO Pasig City, Mr. Rommel John Aballe.
Hello! Magandang buhay po sa lahat. Ma'am Diane Dagli, maraming
Hello,
maraming
sir. Good
salamat po
afternoon.
sa inyong pag-introduce po sa akin.
You're most
Ayan.
welcome, sir.
Salamat po. So magkita-kita po ulit tayo mamaya. Ayan. So pwede ko na po bang i-share yung aking screen? Nakikita na po ba? Ayan. Okay. So good afternoon at magandang buhay po sa atin lahat and welcome to the second session of today's Math Tech Casio Technology sessions. So for today, I will be talking about general mathematics. So some topics involves the key concepts of function, rational function, inverse function, exponential, and logarithmic function. So actually, this is my first time. So nawa mabigay ko yung aking best with the help of our dear Lord Jesus Christ. So nagpapasalamat po ako sa lahat ng mga nanonood po ngayon, no? Mukhang all over the globe ang ating mga audience ngayon. Okay, so let's start po. So with all the circumstances that took place itong mga nakaraang linggo, so nais ko pong umpisahan muna sa kumustahan. So how are you feeling today, our dear viewers, our dear math enthusiasts, our dear parents, students, colleagues, no? Pakisagot naman po sa ating mga comment box. Ayan. Magandang buhay rin po, Ma'am Carol. Ayan. From SDO Tanawan po, may mga nanonood rin si Marvel Zehart Niem. Ayan, good afternoon po, sir. Ayan, so kumusta kaya ang ating mga viewers? Sige, habang naghihintay. So, batiin ko na lang rin po muna ang, of course, ang nag-imbita po sa akin, nagbigay ng opportunity upang makapag-talk po ngayon. Walang iba kundi si Mr. Joel Serrano of Casio Philippines. Maraming salamat po, sir. And of course, I would like to also thank our SDO Pasig City headed by our SDS Maria Maria Evalo Concepcion A. Agustin. Ayan. So, kumusta po kaya ang ating mga viewers? Ayan. So far, mga bumabati pa sila ng good afternoon. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Ayan. So, kumusta po kayo ngayon? Mabuhay po. Gandang tanghali mula kay Ma'am Rena Balakidan. Ayan. Uy, kaklase ko to ng college. Hello, Miss Kylie Bernas. Good afternoon po. Sana mag-comment rin yung yung iba naming mga estudyante sa San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School. Ayan, from Rizal High School. Hello po, good afternoon po sa inyong lahat. So maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood. Sige, paiwan na lang po siguro yung comment sa or answer po ninyo dito sa aking tanong na how are you feeling today? Ayan. Opo. Okay? So I would like to start first my discussion with this OUCI. OUCI stands for the Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction, OUCI 2020-307. This was published last October 30, 2020 by our Undersecretary Diosdado M. San Antonio. So he's the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction. So ito po ay mga pamamaraang inirekomenda ng Department of Education upang matulungan ang mga mag-aaral, magulang at mga guro sa distance learning setup ngayong school year 2020 to 2021. So highlight po natin, ang pinaka-highlight po dito ay itong updates on school calendar. So as you can see, the first quarter is now extended from October 5 to December 12, 2020. Then the second quarter will be on January 4 to February 27, 2021. Third quarter will be on March 1 to April 24, 2021. And the fourth quarter will be on April 26 to June 11, 2021. And for the teachers, we will be having an in-service training or inset from December 14 to 19, 2020. Ayan. Okay po? So, let's keep in mind po itong mga panibagong adjustment po na binigay ng ating kagawaran ng edukasyon. Okay? So, ang susunod ko pong gustong i-highlight ay yung ating 5 C's of 21st century skills. So, the 5 C's involves communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, citizenship, or character. No? So in order for our future leaders or our learners today to be a rounded individual, we must be guided with these 5 C's of 21st century skills. So nawa po, even when we are in this kind of distant learning, so nai-integrate pa rin po natin itong ating 5 C's of 21st century skills. Okay? Ayan. So next. So let us start with the key concepts of function. So mag-start na po tayo. So ang ginawa ko po dito ay I have identified the MELC, or the most essential learning competencies para po mag-guide tayo sa mga ating pong pagninilay-nilayan ngayon. Kung nasang learning competency ba siya, mula po dun sa ating most essential learning competency. Okay, so let's start with this MELC. Represents real-life situations using functions, including piecewise functions. So let's have this example or this concept muna. When we say a mathematical model, it is a function that represents a relationship between two or more different quantities. Okay? So in this MELC, we are going to deal with mathematical model, okay, which will be used as in representing real life situation involving function and including piecewise function. Okay? So let us have this first example. So we have a rock climber drops a stone from a high cliff. No? Below is the table of values of the variables, which are time and distance covered by the stone dropped from the cliff. So let's have this table. So the table is divided into two. No, we have the time in seconds, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. and the distance in feet, which are 0, 25, 100, 225, and 400. Okay? So we are asked to identify or to represent this using function. Okay? So next. So in order to represent this example using function, of course, we're going to let first time, no, as a variable. No? Let us use a variable x for time. No? And then we're going to use uh, variable d for distance. And then we need to check the relationship. So we can guide our students, no, to check the relationship. Okay? So we have the relationship between the time and the distance. Okay? So the relationship of 0 to 0 is 0. Okay? So the time in seconds, 1, in relation to 25, we have 25 times 1. Okay? How about the relationship between the time 2 and distance 100 po kaya? Okay? So tingnan natin. What is now the relationship between the time 2 and the distance in feet 100? Okay? So we have 100 in relation to our time 2 seconds is equal to 25 times 4. Okay? And further, 25 times 4 is equal to 25 times 2 raised to the second power. Okay? Next, how about 3 and 225? So we have 225 is equal to 25 times 9. And we all know that 25 times 9 is equal to 25 raised to, or 25 times 3 raised to the second power. And then we have the time 4 and its relationship to 400. We have 400 is equal to 25 times 16. And 25 times 16, ay ayan, si sir may mga sumasagot na po, no? Is 25 times 4 raised to the second power. Thank you, Sir Glenn Ibanez Gilongos. Ayan, may sagot na siya. So let's verify kung okay yung sagot ni Sir or tama. Okay? So from there, our students can make a conjecture, no? From this given, ano kaya ang relationship, no? Or what function can we obtain from this given relationship? So we have d is equal to 25 times x raised to the second power, where x is greater than or equal to 0. Importante po ito, no? Yung restriction. Why do we restrict x? Because x, which represents time, and we all know that we don't have negative time. Okay? So actually, if hindi pa rin, or nagda-doubt pa rin tayo sa ating sagot, we can use our Casio ClassWiz to verify if our obtained function here is correct. Okay? So escape ko lang po. So I have here my Casio ClassWiz. So I can use the table mode, no? So from the menu, I can click 9. Okay? I can click 9 and then I can encode my function, which is 25 x squared. 25, so click 2, then x raised to the second power. Okay? And then, yeah. Then click equals. Okay? Then click equals ulit kasi wala naman tayong value of g of x. So, we have here a table range. So as you can see, in our table here, our time is from 0. So our start is 0, then press equals, then our end is 4. Okay? And then step is, as you can see, the increment between our time is 1. So we will leave it at is, no? 1 siya. Okay? Then click equals. So as you can see here, so similar po yung value na nakikita natin dito sa ating Casio ClassWiz emulator and yung value na nakikita natin dito sa ating table. So we have 0, if x is 0, f of x is 0. If x is 1, f of x is 25. If x is 2, f of x is 100. If x is 3, f of x is 225. And if x is 4, then f of x is equal to 400. Okay? So, since we verify already using our Casio ClassWiz, we can now conclude that hence the model to the given situation. So the model to the given situation is D is equal to 25x raised to the second power, where x is greater than or equal to 0. Okay? So let's proceed po sa susunod na mga examples. Okay. So now we have this example. So your cell phone plan costs 450 pesos. The plan includes 560 free minutes of calls and charges 9 pesos for each additional minute of usage. So the monthly charges according to the number of minutes used is given by, so as you can see, we have two conditions here in this example, no? The one that gives us a free minutes of call, no, which costs 560, and the one that charges 9 pesos for each additional minute of usage. So, pwede nating tanungin sa students. So, and then, ang hahanapin nating sagot sa kanila is, it is an example of piecewise function. Pwede nating ipa-assignment na yung definition of piecewise function, and then we can use this as a motive or startup activity sa ating mga estudyante. Okay? So let's now represent this. So we have C of x is equal to 450 if x is greater than or equal to 0 but less than or equal to 560. So it is in accord, no, dun sa ating problem. So this is our first mathematical model for our first condition. Okay? And then the second condition is, kapag lumagpas ng 560 minutes, then there will be an additional charges of 9 pesos for each additional minute of usage. Okay? So we have, so for our second function, we have C of x is equal to 450 plus 9 times x minus 560 if x is greater than 560. Okay? So, mamaya po babalikan po natin itong example po na ito. Okay, next. So let's proceed to the next most essential learning competencies in general mathematics, which is evaluates a function. So, evaluating function means replacing the variable with a given value, or simply it's just substitute. Okay? So let us have the following. So use A is equal to 2, B is equal to -5, and C equals 3/8 to solve for R. Okay? So here we have three given, or three function given, three functions. Okay? So we can use our Casio ClassWiz emulator, no? pwede natin gamitin si Casio ClassWiz Emulator para mas madali nating ma-solve ito. Okay? So I will open again our Casio ClassWiz. Okay? And then I have, so from the menu, kung naaalala nyo kanina, we are in menu 9. No? Ngayon, we are going back to the calculate mode. Okay? So, or just simply press 1. Okay? And then we are, again, back in the calculate mode. So, in order to evaluate this function using our Casio ClassWiz, first step is we need to encode our given function. Okay? So, first, we have 3a squared. So, sabayan nyo po ako ha. Okay, sabay-sabay po tayo. So, I hope you already downloaded your Casio emulator in your respective gadgets or your respective laptop or respective cell phones. Okay? So, we have 3. No? So, let's encode our function. 3 and then alpha A, then raised to the second power, plus 10b, ayan, 10b, okay, minus 16. Okay, and then afterwards, we're going to click calc. So, nasaan si calc? So, i-make sure po pala muna natin ha na tama po yung ating function na in-encode doon po sa ating given. Okay, so 3a squared plus 10b minus 16. And then, we can click the calc, click calc, and then, as you can see, a is 2, arrow down, b is negative 5, so okay na. Kasi nag-practice po ako kanina kaya, kaya yan na po yung mga naka-encode dyan. Okay, and then, so, ayun lang naman po yung need po natin so far, no? So, a is 2, and then b is negative 5. And then, we can click equals. And then, we already evaluated our function. So, we have r is equal to negative 54. Okay? So, next. So, we can click AC. So, tingnan naman po natin tong susunod. So, we have c squared. So, in order to type c, we have alpha c, and then raised to the second power. So, ayan. And then plus 7a alpha a plus 5, then click alpha, then b. Okay? Okay. And then, once again, click calc. So, we have c, 3 over 8. So, kapag hindi 3 over 8 yung nakalagay dyan, simply type 3, and then fraction. Here's the fraction button. And then, click 8. Ayan. Then, click equals. And then, a is 2. Then, arrow down. B is equal to negative 5. And then, once we click equals here, we have negative 695 all over 64. Or, by simply clicking SD, kung gusto natin decimal ang lumabas sa sagot, so i-click lang natin tong S to D. Okay? So, we have negative 10.86. Okay? Kung 2 decimal point po yung hiningi sa atin. Okay? So, next po is, itong ating third example. We have R equals the absolute value of B squared minus 2A all over 8C. So, yung kagandahan kay Casio ClassWiz, meron na siyang absolute value function. So, we have, so saan natin makikita si absolute value function? We have here, shift abs. Ito po, yung sa open parenthesis. Okay? And then, we click the fraction. Okay? And then we have b squared alpha b, okay, raised to the second power, okay, minus 2 alpha a all over 8 then alpha c. Oops, nagkamali. So, alpha c. Yan. So, again, click the calc. Click natin si calc. And then, as you can see, we already have the value of b, which is -5. We have the value of a, which is 2. And then we have the value of c, which is 3 over 8. And then simply click equals po. Okay? When we click equals, then we already have our answer, which is equal to 7. Okay? So, that's how simply it is po. No? So, stay tuned tayo and then take notes din kasi mamaya meron tayong mga pa-games after nito. And then yung mga sagot rin po doon ay manggagaling po dito sa ating pinag-uusapan ngayon. Or it's the application of what we are going to discuss today. So, generous ang Casio ngayon. Balita ko, sabi ni Sir Joel, meron tayong pamimigay na dalawang 150 peso load at isang 200 peso load. So, abangan po natin yan mamaya. Okay? Okay, so let's proceed po. Ayan. So, our next example, we have evaluate the function f of x equals x raised to 7. Ayan, x raised to 7 minus 16, x raised to 5 plus 10, 4. X equals 2, and then x equals 1 over 5. So as you can see here, meron tayong two values of x. So once again, we can use our Casio ClassWiz to evaluate this function. Okay? So pwede pa rin si calc mode. Okay. So for this, we have x raised to 7. So simply type it. Pwede to, no? Yung x na may nakalagay na box. So pwede yan. So we have x raised to 7. Yan. So minus 16 x raised to 5. Yan. Plus 10. Okay? So simply click calc. So we have x is equal to 2. So we need to change this. So x is equal to 2. Yan. And then simply click equals. And equals again. So we have now our value for x or for our function at f of 2. So we have f of 2 is equal to negative 374. Now, do we still need to repeat to type this function and then type again type this function and then saka pa lang natin masasubstitute si 1 over 5? Hindi na po, no? Simply click calc. So pag click natin kay calc, no, pwede na nating i-type dyan or i-edit natin si 1 over or fraction 5. So, and then click equals. Then click equals again. So we have our answer 9.99. So as you can see, pag click natin si SD, hindi natin siya matransform into what? Into fraction. Ibig sabihin, our answer now is an irrational number, no? Okay. So next. Ayan. So let's proceed to the next examples. Okay. So we are done now with the most essential learning competencies of evaluates a function. Now, the next most essential learning competency that we're going to discuss is perform operations and composition of function. So the operation of functions involves the following. So let f of x and g of x be two functions defined in their respective domains. So these functions can be combined to form a new function h of x defined as follows. Okay? So the first one is we have the sum. Okay? So the sum is h of x. Sum is the answer no we obtain when we are adding function. So we have h of x is equal to f of x plus g of x for all x in the domain of f of x and g of x. Okay? And then the difference. So the difference is the answer obtained when we are subtracting. No? So we have h of x is equal to f of x minus g of x for all x in the domain of f of x and g of x. Okay? And then we have the product. So h of x is equal to f of x times g of x for all x in the domain of f of x and g of x. And then we have the quotient, the answer that we obtain when we are dividing. So h of x is equal to f of x all over g of x for all x in the domain of f of x and g of x. And g of x is not equal to 0. Okay? So let's apply this concept in this problem. So what's in demand? Okay? So ayan, in demand ngayon ng Shopee, di ba? And in demand ngayon ang mga face mask and face shield. So, you went to Shopee to buy a box of face masks and use a 25 peso coupon. Then, you went to your Lazada to purchase a face shield and use your 20% off coupon. Okay? So, let's see. What is the function for the total amount you spent given that you bought items that regularly cost 350 at each store? Okay? So as you can see, no, it's the application of the operations of function. So minsan kasi ang napagtutuunan natin ng pansin is yung bigay lang tayo ng bigay ng mga functions, no? So minsan na-neglect na natin yung problem solving involving it. So since extended naman po yung first quarter, siguro pwede tayo makapagbigay ng mga gantong klaseng examples para may additional exercises yung ating mga kabataan. Okay? So how are we going to deal with that? Okay? So we have, we're going to represent this problem into its mathematical form, or we're going to identify its mathematical model. So for the amount spent in a box of face masks, we have f of x is equal to x minus 25, where x represents the regular price, no? So for the box of face mask kasi, we are going to use 25 peso off coupon. Okay? X. For the amount spent in face shield, we have g of x is equal to 0.8x. Okay? So, we have two ways to solve this problem. Okay? The first one is to separately evaluate the two functions and then just add the results. Okay? And then the second one is to add two functions to formulate new function and then evaluate. So we're going to apply these two methods in solving. Okay? So, for the first method, separately evaluate two functions, then add the results. So we have the amount spent in a box of face masks. We have f of x is equal to x minus 25 with regular cost of 350 pesos. Okay? Next one. So simply evaluate the function as at f of 350. So that is equal to 350 minus 25. And then, performing the operation, we have f of 350 is equal to 325. Now, how about for the amount spent in face shield? Okay? So we have g of x is equal to 0.8x with regular cost of 350 pesos. By the way, why is it 0.8x? No? Because we have 20% discount and we all know that we need to subtract that 20% discount to 100%, which represents the regular cost. So 100% minus 20% is equal to 80%, or in decimal form, we have zero point 0.8. Okay? So let's proceed. The next. So we have g of, that should be 350. Now, g of 350 is equal to 0.8 times 350. And then the answer would be 280. So therefore, after we evaluate the two function, we just simply add these two results. So the total amount spent in two stores is 325, and 2 plus 280 is equal to 605. Okay? Next is the second method involves the application of addition of function. So add two functions to formulate new functions and then evaluate. So simply add f of x to g of x. So we have x is f of x plus g of x is equal to x minus 25 plus 0.8x. Okay? So we have that is equal to 1.8x minus 25. And then we have f of 350 plus 3g of 350 or 350 pesos is equal to 1.8 times 350 minus 25. Okay? So that is equal also to 605. Okay? So we can verify it using our Casio ClassWiz kung gusto nating makasigurado, di ba? Okay? So simply use the calc mode. 1.8 times 350 minus 25. Okay? So that is equal to 605. So therefore, any method or any steps na ay pwede nating i-apply. No? If you're going to ask me kung ano po yung mas madali doon sa dalawa, it depends upon our learners, because we have this so-called individual difference po, di ba? So pwede nating sabihin na, or pwedeng sabihin ng bata na, sir, ito pong method 1 ang mas okay sa akin. Sir, ito pong method 2 ang okay sa akin. It's because our students or every students are unique. Okay po? Okay. So let's proceed to the composition of functions. Okay? So another way of combining two functions is so-called composition of functions. So in this form, one of the function must be in the domain of the other function. Okay? So, given two functions, f of x and g of x, the composite function of f of x and g of x is defined and denoted by f composed of g of x is equal to f of g of x, and g composed of f of x is equal to g of f of x. Okay? So it means that you're going to make g of x, here in f of g of x, you're going to make your g of x as the domain of your f. Okay? As the domain of your f of x. And here in g composed of f of x, you're going to make your f of x as the domain of your g of x. Okay? So let's have this example. What if you have two coupons sponsored by 1111? O, di ba? Sino po yung mga nag-1111 dyan sa Shopee? Okay, what if you have two coupons sponsored by 1111 of Shopee? One that is a 40% discount and another one that is 70 pesos off. If Shopee allows you to use both of the coupons in any order, which do you think gives you the better deal? If the item you want to buy costs 635 pesos. Okay? So, how are we going to solve it? Maganda po sa mathematics first, uh, when we are dealing with problem solving, the first thing that you need to do is to identify the mathematical model that is present in the given problem. So here, we have our first mathematical model at f of x is equal to 0.6x. Saan po galing yon? It came here from the 40%, it came here. 40% discount. So we're going to deduct 40%, no? So 100% minus 40%, that is equal to 60% or 0.6x. So x again, once again, represents the regular price or the regular cost of the item. Okay? And then we have the other one, no? The other function. The another one is the 70 peso off. Okay? So we have our g of x is equal to x minus 70. Diba? Okay. So, the question is, which do you think gives you the better deal if the item you want to buy costs 635? So, sa mga viewers natin dyan, sige nga, while I am discussing here, kayo ba ay nagsosolve na rin sa inyong mga bahay habang kayo po ay nanonood? So, nawa po, kayo ay nagsosolve din para ma-testing natin kung paano natin masasagutan yung mga gantong problems. Okay? So, personally, I'm going to use a table. No? So, ano yung laman ng table? So, the first one is the order of discount. Okay? So, pwede nating palabasin na 40% discount first, then 70 peso off. Okay? Pwede rin naman, or yung second option natin, is unahin natin si 70 peso off first, then yung 40% discount. Okay? Of course, we have the composite function notation. So if we have 40% discount first, then 70 peso off, it means that, ayan, may sumasagot na si Sir Glenn Ibanez Gelongos talaga. Active na active. Thank you, sir. Ayan. Ayun. Okay. So, tingnan po natin. Thank you, Sir Glenn. Okay. So, we have here g of f of x is equal to 0.6x minus 70. So, it means that your f of x will be the domain of your g of x. Okay? That's why it became g of f of x is equal to 0.6x minus 70. Okay? And then next, for f of g of x naman po, we have 0.6 times x minus 70. Okay? It means that g of x will be the domain of your f of x. Okay? And then, of course, afterwards, we're going to evaluate. So, as you can see, no, parang dugtong-dugtong yung mga lessons sa GenMath. Present C, evaluation function dito sa composition of functions. No? Present rin siya sa performing operations kanina. And then, present rin yung representing real-life situation of function dito sa mga lessons. Okay? Kaya talagang naka-order po yung mga lessons natin sa GenMath. Okay? So we have g of f of x is equal to 0.6 times 635 minus 70. So simply evaluate it. We can use again our Casio ClassWiz, no? To evaluate. So according kay Sir Glenn, 311. Kapag po kasi pag 40% discount po muna bago yung 70 pesos discount. Okay. So let's check po. Okay? So we have 0.6. Okay, delete muna natin. So we have 0.6 times 635 minus 70. Okay, so the answer is, uy, tama si Sir Glenn. Ayan. So therefore, we have, okay. So we have G of f of x is equal to 311. So kapag 40% discount ang nauna, bago yung 70 pesos off, 311 ang sagot. Okay? How about this one? Kung ang uunahin naman natin ay si 70 peso off, bago si 40% discount. Okay? So what will be our answer? Titingnan natin kung according kay Sir Glenn, that's 339. So we have 0.6 times 635 minus 70. Okay? Ayan. So, make sure natin na tama po yung pagkaka-encode po natin, ha? Okay. So, click equals. Uy, it's 339. So, tama ulit, Sir Glenn. Thank you po, Sir Glenn, for being active sa ating webinar ngayon. Ayan. So, therefore, it's 339. And that's the time that we can conclude, no? So, we can conclude na the better deal or the first rule is better than the second rule since it results in a smaller price. Okay? So, ang pipiliin nating deal ay ito pong first. Yung 40% discount first, then 70 peso. Okay? Next example. So, bumalik na tayo dito sa ating cellphone plan. So, a cellphone plan costs 450. So, the plan includes 563 minutes of calls and charges 9 pesos for each additional minute of usage. So, the monthly charges according to the number of minutes used is given by, so ito na po yung ating na-identify po kanina, no, na piecewise function. So, we have C of x is equal to 450 if x is greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to 560. And it will become, or 450 plus 9 times x minus 560 if x, which represents what? It represents the minutes of calls you consume in a month. Okay? If you consume greater than 560 minutes of call, then this will be your function. Okay? So, let's now extend, no? Kanina ni-represent lang natin. Now, we're going to find the total charges for letter A. If you have consumed 230 minutes for one or in a month. Letter B, if you have consumed 575 minutes in a month. And letter C, if you consume 984 minutes in a month. Okay, sige nga po. So while we are discussing here, try nyo naman rin pong magsagot po sa inyong mga tahanan. Okay? Ayan. Po. So for letter A, we have 230 minutes. So tanungin natin yung bata, no? Pwede nating tanungin yung ating mga students. Saan kaya dito sa dalawang function na ito, naandoon si 230 minutes? Okay? So dito ba sa first or dito ba sa second? So since 230 minutes is less than 560, so dito siya sa ating first function. So automatically, without computing, it's just by analyzing. This means that the total charges is 450 pesos. Okay? Next. Ayan, si Sir Glenn talaga active na active. Thank you po, Sir Glenn, ha? Okay. So, letter B, ayan, 575 minutes. So, ayan. So, it's under our second No, it's under our second function, which is 450 plus 9 times x minus 560. Bakit? Because 560 is greater than, or 575 is greater than 560. O, di ba? Okay, so tingnan natin. Ang sagot po ni Sir Glenn ay 585. So afterwards, after you identify that it belongs to the second function, babalik ka na naman dun sa lesson ng evaluating function. So dapat talaga strong ang foundation nung mga estudyante natin before tayong mag-move sa ating next lesson. Kung hindi, patuloy lang nating babalik-balikan yon. And with the aid of Casio, no, maganda na gamitin rin natin siya para as an aid or as a tool, no, para mas matutunan ng bata yung topic. Okay? So, evaluating this, it will give us C of 575 is equal to 585. Ayan, si Ma'am Maria Teresa Bergonia. Ang sagot niya rin, 585. Thank you po, Ma'am, sa inyong participation sa atin pong webinar ngayong araw na ito. Okay, and next, okay, so this means for letter B, if you consume 570 minutes of call in a month, then you're going to pay 585 pesos. Okay? Next. So, what if you consume 984 minutes? Siguro ito yung mga may may mga forever nakikipagbabaran ng tawagan. Kaya ang laki ng kanyang minutes consumed in 1 month, 984 minutes, imagine. Okay. So, again, it's under our second function, which is 450 plus 9 times x minus 560. If x is, since our x is greater than 560. So we have C of 984 is equal to 450 plus 9 times 984 minus 560. Okay? So it will give us an answer of 4,296. Okay, sige. Let's confirm nga. Kasi magkaiba kami ng sagot ni Sir Glenn. Let's confirm it sa ating Casio ClassWiz. Okay? So we have, so simply let's evaluate. We have 450 plus 9 times, ayan, pareho kami ng sagot ni Ma'am Ninya Macabeo. Thank you po, Ma'am Ninya, sa pag-participate. Okay, counter check lang po natin, ha. 984 minus 560. Okay, tingnan natin. Okay, 4,266 nga po. So, this should be 4,000. Ayan, o, di ba? Maganda na chine-check talaga natin. 4,266. Ayan. So, thank you po. Ayan, si Ma'am Miro and Ma'am Maria Teresa Bergonia. Okay, salamat po. So, the correct answer is 4,266. Okay? Ayan. So, we are done. So, those are some problems po na pwede nating ihabol kasi I know that we are already in week 7 or week 6 na po ng first quarter ng General Mathematics. So, since we still have time, siguro pwede nating maihabol po yung mga gantong problems para po mas strengthen po yung skills at ma-develop yung 21st century skills ng atin pong mga estudyante, even if we are doing it online or distant learning. Okay po? Okay. So, here po kasi sa Division of Pasig City, hindi pa namin ino-offer si GenMath. Yan. Second sem pa namin siya ino-offer. Nauna po namin i-offer si Stat and Probability. So, pwede nating, sa mga teachers ko dito sa Pasig, so these are some examples na pwede nating ibigay sa ating mga estudyante this coming second semester sa General Mathematics. Okay? So, these are just suggestions. Okay po? Okay. So, let's move on to the next chapter of General Mathematics, which involves the rational equations, inequalities, and functions. Okay po? Okay. So let's have this most essential learning competency: solve rational equations and inequalities. Okay? So we all know, ito recap na lang po ito, we all know that a rational expression is of the form P over Q, where P and Q are considered as, or should be, no? P and Q should be a polynomial expression. Okay? Next, equations with rational expressions as terms are called rational equations. Okay po? And then, inequalities with rational expressions as terms are called rational inequalities. So let's keep in mind po this given definitions. Okay? So, pwede tayong magbigay po ng ganitong klaseng activity. So, napakaganda po nito, no? Kasi makikita po natin, identify which of the following is true and which one is false. And then, ang pinakamaganda po doon, pinakamabigat is the students need to justify their answers. No? Sometimes it's hard to think of ways to make mathematics subjective kasi karamihan objective lagi yung sagot. But if we have this kind of question na justify your answer, imposible na magkapare-pareho po yung sagot ng ating mga students. Pwede nating gawin tong into an essay type, no? Solutions or solution type. Pero imposible pong magkaroon ng pare-parehong sagot po ang estudyante natin when we say justify their answer. Okay? Okay, so we have this first example. We have number 1, 2x all over 2x plus 4 is equal to 3x over x plus 2 when x is equal to 2. And we have x over x minus 1 plus 3 over x is equal to 5 over 2x when x is equal to negative 1. Okay, sige, teachers, students. Ayan, sana may mga students din, no, na nanonood, and parents, baka may mga parents tayo dyan. Sabay-sabay po tayong matuto ngayong araw po na ito. Ano po? Okay, so let's have this one. So, let's justify, is our equation be true or will be true if x is equal to 2? So, I'm using again table, which divided into 2 columns. The first column is involves the steps, and the second column involves the solution. So the first step in solving that is to perform cross multiplication. Okay? So we have 2x all over 2x plus 4 is equal to 3x all over x plus 2, and x must not be equal to negative 2 because tanungin natin, pwede nating tanungin yung estudyante, bakit hindi pwedeng maging negative 2 ang ating x? No? It's because our rational expression in both sides will be what? Will be undefined. Will have a denominator of 0 kapag we let x as negative 2. Okay? So, it's a big no-no in math. Okay? So, according kay Mr. Nestor Hadi, false daw po. Ayan. Thank you, Sir Nestor, for participating. Okay? False. False din ang sagot ni Ma'am Maria Teresa Bergonia. Ayan, tingnan natin. So, we have 2x times x plus 2 is equal to 3x times 2x plus 4. And then, we have, the next step is to solve the equation to find the values of x. So, after cross multiplication, we can apply the distributive property, no? Distributive property of equality, okay? So, distributing 2x to x and 2, and distributing 3x to 2x plus 4. Ayan, ang dami na pong nagsasagot ng false. So, afterwards, we have 2x squared plus 4x equals 6x squared plus 12x. And then, no, we're going to use the addition property of inequality po, no? Okay? So, minsan ang sinasabi ni teacher, di ba, transposition, but that's just a shortcut, no? But let's introduce the different properties of equality at sanayin po natin yung mga bata na yun po yung ginagamit. Okay? So, we're going to add negative 6x squared and negative 4x both sides, no? So we have negative 4x squared. So it will become negative 4x squared equals 8x. Okay? Naalala ko yung sabi ng aming physics teacher noon na when we are solving for a variable, no, we must follow the patay na silina or the PNLA. So this should be the characteristic of our variable, no? Or this should be the PNLA must be a characteristic of our variables that we are solving. So here we are solving for x, no? What does PNLA stands for? So first, our variable daw po should be positive. Okay? So when we are solving for a certain variable, here x, so our x should be positive. Next, n. So, ayan, sulat natin. So, P, ayan, N, L, A. Ayan. So, shout out pala sa aking physics teacher nung 4th year, si Sir Laudensia. Co-teacher ko na din siya sa San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School ngayon. Good afternoon, sir. So, when we are solving a variable, so here are the characteristic. Pasensya na po pangit yung aking sulat. Positive. Ayan ha, para matandaan natin. Okay. Next. N stands for numerator. So when we are solving for a variable, it should be in the numerator. Ayan. Next. Ayan. Next is, our variable should be on the left. And our variable should be alone. Ayan. So ito raw pong apat na ito po yung dapat nating tandaan when we are solving for our variable. So kapag na-satisfy niya na tong apat na condition na to, then we are done solving for the variable. Okay? So, sige, let's proceed. Ayan. So as you can see, okay, we have negative 4x squared equals 8x. So our x is not yet positive, but it's in the numerator. It's not yet on the left, and it's not yet alone. Okay, so we are not yet done solving for x. Okay, so next, we have negative 4x squared minus 8x is equal to 0. Okay, and then we have, okay, so factoring factoring our polynomial by their common monomial factor, which is negative 4x. So we have negative 4x times x plus 2 is equal to 0. Okay? And then separating those both two, we have negative 4x is equal to 0 and x plus 2 is equal to 0. So as you can see, ayan, malapit na nating ma-achieve to, no? So as you can see, our x is 0 and x is equal to negative 2. So does it satisfy now our PNLA? Yes, because our x's here are positive, numerator, left, and alone. Okay? Okay. Okay, so we are concerned with x po We are solving for our variable x. So it's positive, it's in the numerator, it's on the left, and it's alone. Okay? So erase ko na to. So ang dami nang nagsasagot ng false. Okay? Okay. Okay, so let's see. But we all know that, okay, so the next step is to verify the result by substituting the obtained values to the equation. Okay, so but we all know that x equals negative 2 is or cannot be a solution. Okay, so it's what we call, so or we can say that x equals negative 2 is an extraneous solution. Ayan. Okay, so ang i-check na lang natin ay si x equals 0. Okay? So once we substitute, we see now that 0 is equal to 0. Okay? And then, for the sake of justification, sinubstitute na rin natin si 2. No? And ang lalabas po na sagot ay 1/2 is not equal to 3/2. So it means that, so we can conclude now that hence x equals 0 is the only solution to the given rational equation. So therefore, the answer is false. So salamat po sa mga nag-participate. Tama po kayong lahat. Ang sagot po ay false. Okay? How about this one? Our second example, number 2, we have x over x minus 1 plus 3 over x equals 5 over 2x when x equals negative 1. Sige nga po, is our given equation will be true when x is equal to negative 1 or false? Sige po, hintayin ko po yung answer nyo habang tayo po ay nagdi-discuss po dito. Okay? So, we have now, okay, the steps again. Since we have here a sum, no, it's not yet in a single fraction, so we can apply yet the cross multiplication, unlike dun po sa naunang example natin kanina. Okay? So, in order to make this as a single fraction, we need to multiply both sides by the LCD, or the least common denominator. Okay? So, we have now 2x times x minus 1, okay, times the quantity, our given rational expression on the left, which is x all over x minus 1 plus 3 over x equals 5 over 2x times 2x times x minus 1. Okay? Okay, next. Applying the distributive property, so distribute 2x and x minus 1 to our given, we'll be having 2x squared plus 6 times x minus 1 is equal to, ayan, may mga sumasagot na po ng true, is equal to 5 times x minus 1. Ayan, si Sir Nestor, Hadi, and Ma'am Maendra Di Maiwat. Ayan, good afternoon po sa inyo. Mga sirs and mga ma'am. Okay, ayan. Okay, so, next. Ayan. Negative 5 over 2 daw. True. Okay, tingnan natin. So, solve the resulting quadratic equation by factoring. So, yan. Di ba? We have 2x squared plus 6x minus 1 is equal to 5 times the quantity x minus 1. So, we can apply here the factoring. So, factoring strategy. Pero kailangan mas maganda po na nasa quadratic equation na siya. Kasi meron tayong way sa Casio ClassWiz to solve for the equation. So for the values of x, okay? So we're going to apply that. Okay? Ayan. Okay, tingnan natin ha. So we have our given quadratic equation at 2x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0. So we can use the menu, okay, para mas mabilis tayo mag-factor. And then, ano kaya yung pwede natin gamitin? Ayan, menu. Ayun, we can use this equation, no? So simply click alpha A. Or pwede natin gamitin si cursor, okay? So hindi tayo simultaneous equation. Mukhang yun yung kanina. Systems of linear equation. Kaninang webinar yon. So ngayon, polynomial tayo. Okay? And then the degree is 2. No? Ayan. So we have a degree 2, and then we have 2x squared. So that's the value of A. The value of A is 2. Then click equals. Then the value of B is what? The value of B is 1. Okay, then click equals. And the value of C is negative 1. Okay? Then click equals again. Then click equals. Yun. So our x, ayan o, nandito na o. So we have x equals 1/2 and x equals -1. But are we done there? Of course, not yet. Kasi baka extraneous solution pala si -1 or proceed to the next step, which is to verify our results. So then, this rationally less than 0. So ano lang? So ito lang. Sa x equals 0. And ito yun. No? Ito po yung region na yon. Ito po. Ayan. Ito. So therefore, thus the solution set of the rational inequality is at x must be greater than -1 but less than 4. Okay? So that's our final answer. So ayan. Thank you po Mama Endra and Sir Glenn. Ayan. Tama po yung mga sagot po ninyo. Okay. Next. Next given po natin is to find the values of x that will satisfy the following, or our second given is at x squared minus 4 all over x minus 2. Okay? It must be greater than or equal to 0 naman po. Okay? Ayan. So habang nagdi-discuss po ulit tayo, patry pong mag-solve. Ayan, ang ating mga active participants. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Okay. So we have, again, 2 column in answering this kind of problem. We have the steps and the solution. Okay? So we have factor the numerator and simplify. Okay? So, factoring our numerator, okay, kasi it's not yet in simplest form, right? So it's x squared minus 4. So reviewing the grade 8 lesson of our students, sana naaalala pa nila, no? Ang factoring difference of two squares. So it's factoring difference of two squares po. Ayan. Ayan, may sagot na ulit si Sir Glenn. Thank you, Sir Glenn. So factoring our numerator, it will give us x minus 2 times x plus 2 all over x minus 2 must be greater than or equal to 0. Okay? Next. So we got x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0 if x is not equal to 2. Again ha, x must not be equal to 2 because that will make our rational expression or rational inequality undefined. Okay? So, the next step, after we factor the numerator and simplify, we're going to find now the points of interest by equating the numerator to 0 and the denominator to 0. Okay? So, we have the numerator. Ayan. The numerator is at x plus 2 is equal to 0. Okay? And then, di ba, naalala po ninyo, the point of interest, we are just simply equating the numerator and denominator to 0. So we have our numerator x plus 2, x equals -2. So denominator x minus 2 is equal to 0. So therefore, for our denominator, x must be equal to 2. Okay. Proceed po tayo. So we need to locate these values on the real number line to find the intervals needed to be tested. So we have here again our number line. So open for -2. So we have located -2. And then for 2, we locate 2 also. Okay? Ayan. So border ulit. Ayan. Region. Okay, so on the left of -2, we have x must be greater than -2. And to the right of 2, we have x is greater than 2. Okay? And then next, between -2 and 2, we have x is greater than -2 but less than 2. Okay? So next, we have next step is to pick a test point for every region. So for the solution, we have x is equal to -3. So punta na tayo ulit dito sa ating Casio ClassWiz. So let's encode our function. Ayan. So we're going to encode our function. So on natin. Pwede pala si AC na lang. So our function is x squared, rational expression x squared, minus 4 all over x minus 2. Okay? All over x minus 2. Ayan. So, pressing calc. So, our first test point is at -3. Tama? Because left ng -2. Okay? So, calc -3. Okay? So, we have equals, pressing equals again, -1. So, that's why negative po ang nakalagay dito. Okay? So, if x is -2, so pressing calc again, pressing calc, and then we have -2. So, negative of 2. Okay? Then press equals. Then press equals again. So, we have x is equal to 0. That's why po, 0 po ang nakalagay dito. Okay? Next, we have x is, when x is 0, so pressing calc again. So, calc, when x is 0, so that will become pressing equals, then press equals again. So 2, what's the sign? Positive. So that is why we have positive here. Okay? And next, we have when x is 2. Yan, when x is 2 daw. Okay? So we have calc again, pressing calc, and then x is equal to 2. Okay? So pressing equals here, then press equals again, math error. That's why it is undefined. Okay? And then, the last one is when our x is equal to 4. Okay? So, when our x is equal to 4, so simply press AC. Back tayo. Ayan. So, calc again. And then, when x is 4, so we have 4 here, then press equals. So, it's positive 6. So, the sign is positive. That's why we have positive here. So, going back to our presentation. So, we already done with testing our test point. So, ang kukunin lang natin dito ay yung magsasatisfy dito sa ating given inequality symbol, which is greater than or equal to. So, greater than 0, okay, greater than 0. So, pasok si x is equal to -2. Pasok si x equal 0. Okay? So, si -2 pasok. Pasok si x equal 0. So, this region po yun. Okay? So, this is the region for that. For x equals 0. Hindi po pasok si x equals -2. Okay? Because that will make our expression or our inequality undefined. Okay? And then, pasok si 4 because it's positive. So, what will happen there? So, we can conclude now that, thus, the solution set of the rational inequality is -2x, no? X is greater than or equal to -2. So, kasali si -2 because that will make our inequality 0 equals 0, no? And then, but less than 2 or x, no, greater than 2. So, since kasali po si -2, since kasali si -2 sa ating solution, so kailangan meron siyang solid. Hindi siya open. Okay? So, shaded siya. Okay? So, this is our solution. Okay? Okay. Next, let's determine the intercepts, zeros, and asymptotes of rational functions. So let us have the following definition. Ayan, so tama yung sagot ni Sir Glenn Ibanez Gilongo. Salamat po, Sir Glenn, for your active participation. Ay, binabati ko po yung aming school principal, school head, Ma'am Marie Chris Murillo. Maraming salamat po. Ma'am Marie Chris, sa inyo pong pagsubaybay sa atin pong webinar po ngayon. Ayan. Okay, next. So, the intercepts of rational function. Okay. So the intercepts is divided into two, the x-intercept and the y-intercept when we are dealing with the Cartesian plane. Okay? So when we say the x-intercept of a rational function, it is a point that lies on the x-axis. So to obtain x-intercept, assume that y is equal to 0, then solve for x. Hence, we ignore the denominator whenever you want to locate the x-intercept. Tanungin mo yung bata ngayon, no? Kailangan mapaglaro ang kanilang mga isipan. Why do we need to ignore the denominator? Because when we try to take a look at it, when we cross-multiply the denominator to y, when we are finding for the x-intercept, that will give us 0, nothing. Because you already let your y be equal to 0. Okay? So, when we are solving for x-intercept, we are just concerned with the numerator. Okay? Okay, next. So the x-intercepts are also the zeros or roots of our rational function. Ayan. Okay? Next. How about the y-intercept? So y-intercept of a rational function is a point, no, that lies on the y-axis. So to obtain the y-intercept, we need to assume that x is equal to 0. Then we solve for y. Okay? Ayan. So let's have the asymptotes naman. Ayan. Ang malungkot na kwento ni asymptotes, papalapit lang pero never, ever na mag-meet. Okay? Ayan. So the asymptotes of rational function. So the asymptotes are lines that are approached by the graph of the function. Okay? So what are the two types of asymptotes when we are dealing with rational functions? So the first one is the vertical asymptotes. These are vertical lines that are obtained by the x values that will make our function undefined. Okay? And then horizontal asymptote naman po are of a rational function is an output value that a function approaches as the input goes to positive and negative infinity. Okay? So we have two cases for our horizontal asymptotes. So let f of x be equal to ax raised to n plus up to plus a sub 2 x raised to the second power plus a sub 1 x all over bx raised to m plus up to plus b sub 2 x squared plus b sub 1 x. So if n is greater than m, then the x-axis is the horizontal asymptote. Okay? So what do we mean here by n and m? No? Kailangan tanungin mo rin yan kasi baka hindi na naaalala ng mga bata natin. So when we say n, it is the degree. No? It's the degree of our numerator. And when we say m, yun naman po yung degree ng ating denominator. Okay? So, if n is equal to m, then the horizontal asymptote is the line y equals a over b. So, ano naman po yung role ni a and b? So, a is the leading coefficient of our numerator and b is the leading coefficient of our denominator. Okay? So, kailangan well-explained po yan sa ating mga bata at hindi lang po tayo baba ng mga concepts. Okay? So, let's answer this. So, let's find the intercepts, the vertical and horizontal asymptotes and zeros of our given function. We have f of x is equal to x squared minus x minus 6 all over 3x squared plus x. Okay? So let's identify the parts of the graph. So you can factor the numerator and the denominator. So the factored form of x squared minus x minus 6 is x minus 3 times x plus 2. And then factoring common monomial factor for our denominator, x times 3x plus 1. So we can check this, no, sa ating Casio ClassWiz, no? Skype ko muna ulit. For our numerator. So for our numerator, babalik tayo doon sa ating menu. And then we have yung equation, no? Si letter A. Okay? Or simply click alpha A. So since nandito na ako sa cursor na ito, so just click A and then 2 again. Then degree is 2. Okay, so we have x squared. So the numerical coefficient of A here is 1. 1, click equals. Okay, the numerical coefficient here of B is negative 1. Okay, so negative of 1. And then click equals again. The numerical coefficient of C is negative 6. So we have negative of 6. Then click equals again. Okay. And then click equals again. So as you can see, we have x equals 3 and negative 2. And this given are also the x-intercept, no? So we don't need to solve for the x-intercept ng mano-mano pa because with the aid of ClassWiz, no, we can already identify it using its function, the equation function of our Casio ClassWiz. Okay? So mapapasalamat Casio ka, di ba? Ganun. Okay? May ganun. Okay. So next. So, ayan, kinounter check lang natin sa ating Casio ClassWiz ang ating factors ng ating numerator. So we are already identify also the x-intercept. So x equals 3. So the ordered pair is 3, 0. And x plus 2 is equal to 0. So we have the ordered pair at, or x equals negative 2. So the ordered pair will be at negative 2, 0. So therefore, the zeros are 3 and negative 2. Okay? So for the y-intercept, okay, so as you can see, h of 0 or f of 0 will be f of 0 po dapat ito, no? F of 0 will be undefined when we let x be equal to 0 because that's the characteristic of y-intercept. So therefore, there is no y-intercept in our given. Okay? And then, next, the vertical asymptotes. So the vertical asymptotes are the values. Now, in order to identify our vertical asymptotes, these are the values. These are just the values of our given function that will make our denominator undefined. So simply solving x for our denominator. So what are our x's here? X equals 0, di ba? And x equals negative 1/3. So therefore, these are the equations of our vertical asymptotes. Okay? Next, for the horizontal asymptotes, we have two conditions, right? So as you can see here, no, our n is equal to m. So, dun tayo sa condition number 2. No? Ano yung condition number 2? If n is equal to m, di ba? Then, our horizontal asymptotes has a formula of y equals a over b, where a is the leading coefficient of our numerator, which is 1, and b is the leading coefficient of our denominator, which is 3. That is why the horizontal asymptotes here is the equation y equals 1 over 3. Okay? So, okay, next naman po. Next is solve problems. So, ito na yung ating, I guess this is the last milk for our second chapter, rational functions. Okay? So, We have solved problems involving rational functions, equations, and inequalities. So you and one of your group mates in practical research, Mimi can type 80 words per minute together. How fast can you type 800 words if Mimi can type 400 words in 8 minutes? So it's an example of problems involving rational function. It's a rate problem, no? Okay, so here's our solution. So the sum of individual rates is equal to combined rate. Okay? So yan yung mga introduce natin sa ating mga students, no? Yung mga concepts po na yan in order to guide them in solving this kind of problem. Okay? So R of T is equal to rate is equal to work done all over time. Okay? Next. So my rate, so napakaganda no kasi ginagamit mo talaga yung you in character yung bata habang nagso-solve siya. So my rate plus his or her group mates or the rate of your rate, my rate plus Mimi's rate which is your group mate is equal to your combined rate. Okay? So your rate is equal to 800 words over, that's your work done, over T minutes. That's the unknown. So we let your time in minutes that you are going to consume when you type 800 words into T. Okay? And then Mimi can type 400 words in 8 minutes. Okay? And together, you can type 80 words per 1 minute. So that is the equivalent, or that is your combined rate in minute. Okay? So, next one is, okay, we're going to solve it. Okay, we already have the mathematical or the rational equation for this given problem. Diba? Okay? And then, just applying cross multiplication, 800 times 8, that will give us 6,400 plus 400 times t, that is 400t, is equal to we multiply both sides here by the least common denominator po, no? Which is 8t. Okay? Our least common denominator, which is 8t. So we have here 640 is equal to 640t. So if you remember the positive numerator, so our t must be positive, our t must be in a numerator, it must be on the left, and it must be alone. Okay? So as you can see, it's not yet on the left. It's not yet alone, but it's in the numerator and it's positive. So simply add negative 640t on both sides and add negative 6,400 also both sides para mapunta na si t sa left. Okay? But as you can see, our t here is not yet positive. So we need to apply multiplication property of equality by multiplying both sides by negative 1 over 240. Okay? So that will become t is equal to 80 over 3. So therefore, we can conclude now that you can type or I can type 800 words in 80 over 3 minutes. Okay? Yan. Okay, so we are done with chapter 2. So let's proceed to the inverse functions, exponential functions, and logarithmic functions. So these are the last competencies for this quarter. So siguro po karamihan ay naandito na ngayon. So pumili lang po ako ng mga most essential learning competencies dito po sa ating inverse function, exponential function, and logarithmic function. Okay? So, finding the inverse of a function involves substitute x for y and y for x and then solve for y. And then we rename the function as g of x. This is just a suggestion, no, mga kapatid, no? Pwede nating pangalanan siya na f raised to negative 1 of x or anything that you want, okay? So to show that g of x is an inverse of f of x, we have to show that f of g of x is equal to g of f of x is equal to x. Okay? Okay, let's proceed. So let's have this example which can be used to address this competency. Solves problems involving inverse function. So the number of face masks y consumed in a day is directly related to the number of workers in a company. This is represented by the function f of x is equal to 2x. Okay? So the first question is to express the number of workers in terms of the number of face masks consumed. Okay? So we have f of x is equal to 2x. Okay, so we need to find the inverse in order to for us to express the number of workers. Okay? The inverse of y equals 2x. Okay? So in order to find the inverse, we need to interchange x and y. So we have x equals 2y. Okay? And then we have y is equal to 1/2 x. So are we done? So ayun nga, ginamit natin si g of x is equal to 1/2 x. So are we done? Is this already our answer? No, not yet. Of course, we need to counter check. No? In order for it to satisfy as the inverse, we need to prove that f of g of x is equal to g of f of x and is equal to x. Okay? So f of g of x is equal to 2 times 1/2 x. And as you can see, multiplying 2 by 1/2, that will give us x. Okay? And g of x is equal to 1/2 times 2x. No? G of f of x is equal to x also because 1/2 times 2 is equal to x. Therefore, we can say that, so since f of g of x is equal to g of f of x and is equal to x, we say that thus the inverse function model is defined by g of x is equal to 1/2 x. Okay? So, let's extend our given problem into this problem. How many workers are there if 350 face masks were consumed? So, let's just substitute 350 from our given inverse function. And then that will give us g of x is equal to 175. So therefore, thus, there were 175 workers who consumed the 350 face masks. Okay. So next is to find the domain and range of an exponential function. And then next is to determine, also pinagsama ko na, determine the intercepts, zeros, and asymptotes of an exponential function. Dito maganda natin gamitin yung table mode ng ating Casio ClassWiz. So mamaya papakita ko. It can be a startup activity sa ating mga estudyante. Okay? So given the following function, do what is asked. So this activity will help our students to make a conjecture about the characteristic of the domain, the range, the intercepts, the zeros, and asymptotes of our exponential function. Yung properties po niya. Okay? So we have y equals 3 raised to x and y is equal to 1/3 x. So we are asked to determine the domain, the range, the intercepts, and asymptotes of the function. Okay? So, and letter B is the function increasing or decreasing. Explain your answer. Okay? So, we can already provide this table no, sa ating mga estudyante. Okay? So, using our Casio ClassWiz, escape ko, ayan. Okay? So, using our Casio ClassWiz, we can use the table mode. Okay? We can use the table mode. Ayan. Okay? So, babalik lang ako, no? On. Okay? Then, click menu. And then, our table mode is nandito siya. So, just simply press 9. Okay? And then, we can encode y equals 3 raised to x as our f of x. Okay? So, we have here 3 raised to x. Okay? As our first function. And then, we can let this g of x we can let this y equals 1/3 x as our g of x. So we have 1/3 ayan. Ayan, okay. And then 1/3 raised to x. Ayan, okay. 1/3 raised to x. Ayun. So that will be our f of x and g of x. So simply click equals. So para makita natin yung table range natin, gawin natin from -10. Yan, pwede nating i-guide yung mga bata. Oh, you start with -10 and then ayan, then click equals, then the end will be 10. Let's make it as 10. Okay? And then ayan. Ayan, okay? So click equals. Click natin si equals. Okay? And then step natin 1. Step 1. Okay? And then as you can see, makikita nung ating mga estudyante dito, for f of x, which is equal to 3 raised to x, no? As the value of our x decreases, the value, no? Pwede nating tanungin yan, no? What happens to the value of f of x as our x decreases? So makikita na nila, okay, direct proportion po, no? Direct, makikita natin direct because as the value of x decreases, the value of our f of x also decreases. Okay? So as the value of x increases, the value of our f of x also increases. Yun, di ba? Ayan. How about doon naman po sa g of x? Okay? So makikita natin, si g of x naman, no? As kay g of x, which is y equals 1/3 x, makikita natin na habang bumababa si x, si g of x tumataas. So they are inverse of each other, no? Okay? So from there, they can make a conjecture. The domain is at or are all real numbers, no? And then the range is makikita natin no hindi po nag-i-equal ng 0. So we can conclude that the range are both y is greater than 0, no? For these two functions. X-intercept is none, no? X-intercept po is none. Wala tayong x-intercept. Okay? Y-intercept is at 0, 1, no? Since we have here, if x is 0, our f of x and g of x is equal to 1. So, that's our y-intercept. Sa asymptotes, magkaiba sila, no? Because as you can see, as the value of our x in f of x equals, or y equals 3 raised to x, decreases, it gets close, the graph gets close to the negative x-axis. That's why it's asymptotic to the x-axis. Okay? And in our second example, y equals 1/3 x, as the value of x decreases naman or increases, it gets close to the positive x-axis. So that's why our asymptotes is at positive x-axis. Okay? So yung second question na is our given is decreasing or increasing. Ayan. So for y equals 3x, then that is increasing. So nakikita natin no, that direct relation C, f of x and C, x. So it's increasing. And si y equals 1/3 x ay decreasing since they have an inverse relation. Okay, so last na. So we have solving logarithmic equation. So madali lang to. Simply, we're just going to use the calc mode. Ayan. So by simply using our calc mode, we can make this. So going back to our calc mode, so menu, then click 1. Ayan. So we can let A be a base of 10. Pwede yon. So simply click, in order to solve for this, we simply click logarithm of, so as you can see here, we have log x. No? So we have logarithm to the base of 10. Okay. X. So imbis na itong equals na to, ang i-click natin po na equal ay yung alpha calc. Yung may equal dito. Okay? And then type natin si 1/2, okay? Logarithm of 36 to the base of A. Ayan. May sagot na rin si Sir Glenn. Okay. Thank you, Sir Glenn, for being active. Ayan, okay. And then next, plus logarithm of 10 or logarithm of 75 to the base 10. Okay, minus 2 logarithm to the base 10 of 5. Okay? Then just click equals. Ay, ba't nag-syntax error? Okay? Okay, click calc. Okay? So we let x be 0. Okay, x 0. And then click equals. Error. Okay, so dapat ang lalabas dito ay 18. Okay? Okay? So ang lalabas po sa kanya ay 18. Okay po? Ayan. So, kasi pag sinolve natin siya ng mano-mano, okay, matatagalan pa tayo. So, we can use the application calc mode in our Casio ClassWiz to solve this kind of problem. Okay po? Okay. So, our x here will be equal to 18. So, thus the solution is x is equal to 18. Okay, so I think I still have 4 minutes, no, na time. So, pwede na tayong mag-activity. So, ang gagawin nyo lang po, so I have three problems na ipa-flash ko po. Okay? So, ang gagawin nyo lang po ay i-DM po or i-PM dito sa aking Facebook account na Lemur Eliaba yung inyo pong sagot. Okay? So, yung mauuna pong mag-DM ng kanyang sagot ay yun po yung makaka-receive ng ating handog mula sa Casio Philippines at DepEd EdTech Unit. And then I guess after this there will be a link to be given by Sir Buds para po doon sa or on how you're going to claim your certificates. Okay? So this is now our first question. Okay, so ihanda nyo na yung inyong mga messenger. Actually, gantong activity lang rin po yung binibigay ko sa aking mga estudyante since messenger yung pinaka talagang accessible sa lahat. Kasi kahit free data, they can send their picture, no? Yung mga output nila, pwede nilang picture and then send sa akin. Yun nga lang, hindi nila nakikita pag ako yung nagsisend. So in the division of Pasig City, we are applying the text-based messenger classroom. So yun rin yung i-apply ko sa pagkuha ng ating output for today. Okay? So, are you ready now? So, nawa, maraming mag-participate. Tingnan natin. Ayan. So this is now the first given sa ating activity. Ako, 2 minutes na lang pala. Okay. So, again ha, you send your answer to my FB account, Lemur Eliaba. Ayan. Okay. So, the first question is, ayan, you decided to sell barbecue this quarantine period. You pay 200 pesos per day for renting a kitchen and spends 25 pesos for each barbecue. What is the mathematical model for this problem? O, ayan. Okay? So, it's the application of our first learning competency representing real-life situation involving function. So, you can start sending your answer in my messenger now. Again, Lemur Eliaba po na FB Messenger. Okay? Yan, hintayin ko po yung inyong mga sagot. Ayan. While I am waiting. Ayun, may nag-send na. Ayan, okay. So, congratulations to Sir Glenn. Napaka-active talaga nito ni Sir Glenn, no? Sir Glenn Ibanez Gilongos. So, you're going to receive, pasend na lang, sir, yung inyong GCash number or kung anong mode of transaction po yung pwede nating gamitin para po masend po namin yung inyong prize. So, congratulations, sir. You got the correct answers. Okay. Hindi ko muna i-reveal yung sagot kasi kasama to dun sa quiz. Okay, basta tama si Sir Glenn. Okay, second question. Ayan. So, you decided to sell barbecue this quarantine period. Ayan, so alam nyo na yung cost function. So, how much are your expenses if you prepare? 50 pieces, 75 pieces, 100 pieces. So, screen capture your answer with the use of Casio Emulator. O, di ba? Ayan, tingnan nga natin kung sino po ang makakasagot. Ayan, sana may iba pang nagpa-participate. So, if you already identify the cost function, then madali na lang po ito. Ayan, see? So, waiting ako sa mga sagot. Wag po sa comment yung sagot, ha? Ayan. Meron na ba ulit? Wala pa po na sumasagot. Okay? Wala pang sumasagot? Ayun, meron na ulit. May pumapasok na. Naku, si Sir Glenn ulit. Mukhang nakakarami si Sir Glenn. Okay. So we have... Okay. Okay, tama po ulit ang sagot ni Sir Glenn. Ako, mukhang si Sir Glenn lang ang makakapag-claim ng prize. Thank you, Sir Glenn, sa inyong participation. Okay? And the last question. Ayan, tingnan natin kung sino po ang mga makakasagot. Ayun, may humahabol pa. Ayan. And the last question is, you ride a jeepney to go to the supermarket, which is 16 kilometers away from your house. The fare rate is 9 pesos for the first 4 kilometers and an additional 1.30 pesos for every kilometer or a fraction of it thereafter. What mathematical model can be drawn out from the given situation? Okay? So I guess it's the application of piecewise function. So tingnan natin kung sino po ang makakasagot. Hintay po tayo ng message from our participants. Ayan. Okay, we are still waiting. So while I am waiting for the answer, babatiin ko lang rin po yung CID Chief ng ating ng Division of Pasig City, Dr. Manuel A. Laguerta, ang aming pong ASDS, Officer in Charge sa Division of Pasig City, Dr. Carolina T. Rivera, ang SGOD Chief, Dr. Victor M. Havenia ng Division of Pasig City. Of course, yung Regional Director of NCR, Mr. Dr. Manuel A. Garma. Kasama namin siya nung nakaraan sa Industrial Valley Elementary School sa Marikina City. Of course, yung ating mga PSDSS sa Division of Pasig City, yung aming former SDS na sila Dr. Mila Ayose and Dr. Marieta M. Limbo. Of course, yung aking mga kasamahan sa San Lorenzo Ruiz Senior High School, yung ating mga group heads, ang aking group head sa mathematics, Sir Topi Christopher Cruz, ang magnificent head of ABM, Ma'am Hedelita Calonia, of course, my former subject group head, Sir Ron Pecanya, ayan, Ma'am Jero of Social Sciences, Ma'am Lenny Odavar of Science, Sir JC of Languages and Literature, and Sir Taksay of TBL. Hello po sa inyo. Ayan. Meron na ba? Wala pang sumasagot. Ayan. So since wala pang sumasagot, siguro I'll just hang this question and then, ayan. Ay, ayan na. May sagot na ulit si Sir Glenn. Okay, congratulations, Sir Glenn. Ayan, you got the correct answer for this question. Ayan. So, maraming salamat po sa inyong participation. Alam ko po na gabi na at ang iba pa ay magluluto. So, ng kanilang makakain. But highly appreciated ko po yung inyong pagpa-participate po sa ating webinar ngayon. So let me end this webinar with this quotation by George Bernard Shaw. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. So in this world, nothing is constant but change. And actually now we are being challenged with this pandemic that we shift from a regular school to a distant learning. So may it serve as a challenge, as a inspiration and motivation to pursue more the sulong edukalidad of the Department of Education. And sa ganang akin naman po, ang tahanan, paaralan at komunidad. Ang tahanan ay kung saan ang ating mga kabataan ay naandon, ang mga magulang. Ang paaralan ay binubuo ng mga guro at ang iba-iba pang mga non-teaching personnel. At ang komunidad katulad ng DepEd EdTech Unit at ng Casio Philippines. Kapag po tayo ay nagkapit-bisig, ako po ay naniniwala na tiyak na kalidad na edukasyon ng kabataan ay kanilang makakamtan. So to God be the glory, magandang gabi po, magandang buhay at maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Back to you, Sir Buds.
Hello, sir.
Ayan.
So thank you for that very wonderful presentation about our topic this afternoon. So at this point, let us now welcome our Casio Educational Unit Head, Mr. Joel Serrano.
Hi.
Good evening, Mr. Joel.
Sir Joel,
Hi,
good afternoon.
Good evening pala.
Good evening.
Sir
Good evening na pala.
Sir Aballe,
Good evening.
correct.
Good evening.
And congratulations to your discussion for this afternoon, no. Actually like to say thank you muna kay Ma'am PSDS kanina for the wonderful introduction.
Yes.
Sabi ko sa iyo di ba? Swabe mag-deliver ng ano yun si Ma'am talaga. Sir Rommel, congratulations kasi nagustuhan ko yung the way ng pag-atake mo dun sa topic. Swabe yung
Salamat
pag-atake.
po.
Kumbaga talagang nilatag mo, well prepared yung discussion, no? And sabi nga ni aking kaibigan Sir Tony, you applied the constructivism, correct me if I'm wrong. Kumbaga parang tinuro mo yung paggamit ng technology dun sa mga bata, pero dapat alam nila yung gagawin manually. Di ba? So, and kumbaga parang you teach them kung ano ba yung mangyayari sa susunod. Pag ginawa ko to, anong variable ang mangyayari sa ganyan, ano pa yung susunod, especially yung sa real life applications, no? Yun ang maganda, no, for GenMat. And I saw some comments na parang gusto pa nila yata next time ko daw for GenMat, no? Nakalagay dito. Sabi ko, pwede naman,
Talaga
sabi ko,
naman.
wala namang problema, pwede naman, wala namang problema. And ano ba sasabihin ko? Maraming salamat ulit and siguro tingnan natin in the near future kung paano yung part 2. Actually kanina nung nakikinig ako habang nagluluto ako, akala ko ikaw si Sir Tori Torres kaboses ko.
Nako,
Tsaka
idol na idol ko po yun.
the way
Si Sir
umatake
Tony.
si Torres parang ikaw. Ay, sir, may phone-in question pala dito. Okay lang ba? Para sa'yo.
Sige, sir.
Yes,
Opo.
sir.
Ano daw po ang paboritong math subject ng mga sabongero?
Ano ba, sir?
Math daw po.
Enmat?
Math.
Henmat. Okay.
Okay.
Nako.
Anyway, congratulations Sir Aballe ha. Thank you very much for the
Thank you well for
wonderful
inviting me. This is a dream come true. Another achievement unlock sa akin pong profesyon bilang guru po. Maraming salamat po.
Alam ba Sir Buddy, si Sir
Yes, sir.
Rommel ay rector po ba tawag niyo sir sa simbahan?
Lector po.
Lector
and
yan.
facilitator. Opo.
Kaya nga parang kanina, wow, holy math ang tawag dito. Holy math discussion. Anyway,
So, sir, I think we have another guest commentator this evening. So, huwag natin patagalin pa. Let us all welcome our teacher from San Pascual National High School, Schools Division Office of Batangas, Region 4A. Let's all welcome Ma'am Rowena Macalalad Culiar. Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Hello po, Sir Bats. Good evening. Hello, Sir
Hi.
Rommel. Ang galing-galing po naman ang inyong presentation. Hello, Sir Joel.
hello Ma'am
Hello
Weng.
po.
Good evening. Opo.
Hi. So far, I would like to commend Sir Rommel kasi ang galing-galing po nung kanyang discussion. Napakalinaw ng kanyang presentation. I am a teacher po sa Math 9 sa Junior High, San Pascual National High School, San Pascual District, SDO Batangas. And yung pong isang topic doon, solving rational algebraic expressions is one of our competency ng Math 9 ngayong first quarter. And really, it is really a big help for us teachers and also to our learners who have watched this episode na mas lalong maintindihan yung pong concept ng RAE. And in terms of using ClassWiz Casio calculator, napakalaking tulong po sa aming mga teachers. We have several units of the calculator in our school, and we have allowed our students to use them during class hours, especially during the fourth quarter when dealing with trigonometric ratios and functions. Yan po. So, isa siya sa mga gadget na nakakatulong sa amin as teachers as well as nakakatulong sa mga students para magamit po at mas maintindihan yung konsepto in terms of mathematical concepts. Ayan po. So, ClassWiz has been, Casio ClassWiz has really been with us in our institution for several years now. And mas na-appreciate ko po siya kasi nag-join po ako dun sa teacher edition ng Quiz B. ng, ng, ng mag-host ang University of Batangas here in Batangas Province. And mas marami pong akong natutunan in terms of the usage of the said Casio ClassWiz calculator. And as a mentor of mathematics, I am encouraging po our students to, in case they will be using a scientific calculator, it is better for them to use the Casio ClassWiz calculator. Ayan po.
Ayan, so thank you very much, Ma'am Rowena Priar, for
Well
that
said, well said.
very substantial comments about our topic this evening. So,
thank you so much po, Sir Bads.
yes, ma'am. So,
thank you so much again, Sir Joel, for this
Apo,
opportunity.
actually, Sir Buddy, si Ma'am Weng, lagi siyang nanonood sa atin sa mga workshops, webinar natin. So, I made it a point na siguro this time, pumili naman tayo ng mga participants talaga sa mga live
Yes, sir.
sessions. Talaga magbigay ng input nila about our discussion. So, hindi naman yan si Ma'am magsosok ng dilaw na damit kung hindi nakikinig yan. Di ba?
Opo.
Sumali pala kayo sa competition before, ma'am.
Yes, sir. At the University of Batangas po, in Batangas City.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it's our very first time to attend such competition, and it's really very challenging for us. Yan po.
Gusto niyo ba ng part 2 online?
Po?
Gusto niyo na ng part 2 online naman?
Online po?
Oh.
Tatanong ko po sa aking partner. Kasi teamwork po yun, di ba?
Partnerin niyo si Mr. Gilongos, magaling yun.
Oo,
si Glenn
galing po, sir. Galing ni Sir Glenn talaga.
Kontratahin niyo na. Anyway. So marami pong salamat, Ma'am Weng, for the short notice.
Very much welcome po. Thank you so much po also. Thank you, Sir Bads. Thank you, Sir Rommel.
Thank you.
Bye po.
Okay, before we formally close our Casio Tech session this evening, let's have our last message coming from our speaker, Mr. Rommel John Aballe. Hello, Ayan. Sir Rommel.
Hello po, Sir Bads, at sa lahat po ng mga nanonood at sumuporta. Maraming salamat po. Highly appreciated po yung inyong mga comment, yung inyong mga PM sa akin. Pasensya na po kung may mga hindi ako nabate na mga nagpapabate, pero lahat po ng inyong mga mensahe sa akin ay labis ko pong pinagpapasalamat. At nawa po, wag po tayong tumigil na ipagpatuloy po ang edukasyon sa kabila po ng hamon ng pandemya na ito. Mapalad pa rin po tayo na meron po tayong mga gantong workshop na na-organize po para po makatulong po sa sulong edukalidad ng DepEd. At maraming salamat po muli, Sir Joel, Boss Joel, sa opportunity po na ito na ibinigay niyo po sa akin upang makapag-conduct po ng isang webinar. Isang dream come true po talaga ito, sir. Salamat po.
Thank you rin.
Okay. So before we proceed with the message of Mr. Joel Serrano, important announcement lang po. A while ago, we were able to discuss yung certificate po natin, and para makakuha po tayo ng certificate, please visit this link. It's http://deped.in/Casio Tech Session PM. So PM stands for afternoon session. So tulad ng ating policy a while ago, participants should get at least 80% of the items correctly. So if it's a 10-item test, at least 8 points para maka-receive po tayo ng certificates. The certificates will be sent to you on Monday kasi hintay pa natin yung signatures noon and ipapa-approve pa natin. So lahat po ng mga sasagot po sa ating Casio Tech PM session assessment, we will collect the email address so that we can send the certificate on your email address. So again, it's http:// Yes, Sir Joel.
80%, correct?
Yes po, 80%.
Passing grade.
Yes, one try po lang, sir. Sir Bads, one try lang po. Hanggang one try lang.
One try lang yun, sir.
Okay.
One try. Actually, sinagutan ko kanina eh.
Po?
Sir Romel, sinagutan ko yung exam kanina ni Sir Romel.
Yeah.
Wala. 8 out of 10. Puro pass. Pass.
Mani-mani
Pass.
lang po yun. Kayang-kaya po nilang lahat
Madali
yun.
kakayanin niya siya. So again, it's http://deped.in/Casio Tech Session PM. This is the link for our assessment and for your parang means of verification to get your certificate. Now let's have Mr. Joel Serrano. Sir Joel.
Ay, thank you ulit sa mga participants natin for this afternoon session, no. Actually, this is our first time na mag 4 to 6, no. Maganda
Yes,
naman yung naging result. And ako naman, honestly, no, rin masalamat sa akin kasi I am just an instrument ng Casio para makapag-provide ng ganitong pagkakataon para sa lahat, no. And kami naman, we have some resources and we want to share it to everybody for free. And ang request lang naman namin, sana please share it to your students, co-teachers, and peers for free din. So, yun lang, yung request namin. So, you can go and visit our official education page. It's edu.casio.com. Then, if you're looking for our products, you can visit our official social media page. It's CasioCalculatorsPhilippines.com. So, we will lead you kung saan nyo pwedeng kunin yung aming mga product na malapit sa inyo. Maraming salamat, Sir Buddy, to the Education Technology Unit headed by Sir Mark and Director Abram. Maraming salamat sa lahat. Thank you and see you again next time.
Yes.
Maganda jacket mo, ha?
Yes, sir. Napakaganda nga. Ayun
Bagay
po.
na bagay.
Yeah. Casio ClassWiz and EdTech.
Sana all meron. Sabay ganun.
Hindi ka mawawalan.
Ayun.
Ayan na.
Hindi rin
Ayan na.
magkakaroon.
Thank you, Sir Joel.
So again, let's to get to know more about Casio Calculators Philippines, you can visit their Facebook page. It's Casio Calculators Philippines, and yung mga products nila, the emulators na ginamit kanina ni Sir Rommel, you can visit edu.casio.com/software license/index.php. So this is yung kailangan lang natin puntahan para makuha natin ang mga emulators na ginagamit po natin. And again, thank you very much, Sir Joel Serrano.
Thank you, Sir Buddy.
Sir Rommel.
Thank you.
Rommel
See you
John.
again.
So, hopefully next week or sa mga susunod nating session ay makasama po ulit natin si Sir John. Again, thank you, Sir Rommel. Thank you, Sir Joel Serrano.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And that concludes our afternoon session for our Casio Tech Technology sessions this August 21, 2020. And it's been a long day and alam ko yung iba sa atin marami pang gagawin. Again, I hope to see you soon. Next week, we will be having another double header webinars initiated by Educational Technology Unit in partnership with Casio Calculators Philippines. And to formally close this session, lagi kong sinasabi, sama-sama tayo, tulong-tulong tayo sa pagsulong ng edukalidad sa ating bansa. Again, good day, stay safe, and God bless us all.